We already do not get a lot of assistance from the United States, but we do need U.S. support for getting packages from the IMF and the World Bank. And if such a waiver is made and it is denied, then it will hurt Pakistan greatly. Once again, reminded Islamabad to follow its own constitution, to follow human rights chapter and other international agreements that Pakistan is a party to, and to make sure that human rights are observed, that people have the freedom of expression, people have the freedom of association. Well, the first thing that we should know is that this is a committee on arbitrary detention. That means it is a committee that decides whether a person who has been arrested, is in jail, has been arrested rightly or wrongly, whether detention is legal or illegal, or it is arbitrary. Arbitrary obviously means that somebody who has been arrested without any legal ground. So here, this committee actually declared Imran's detention as having no legal grounds, and it said in so many words that that his arrest in several cases are actually are the result of a political effort by the government to keep him out of politics, without any legal ground. So obviously, when a UN committee that deals with arbitrary detentions gives its verdict on anything, it does have an impact, because it is the same committee or similar committees that Pakistan goes to when something happens in the Indian occupied Kashmir, and we seek their opinion. And whenever they give their opinion, then we go around and tell the rest of the world that, look, this is what India has been doing in occupied Kashmir. So when the same committee gives a verdict against you, ruling against you, then obviously it carries the same weight that the rulings against India or Israel or any other countries do, because the UN committee has a certain importance, certain significance. It is seen around the world as a neutral committee which does not take sides on these issues. We have seen that during the Gaza crisis, various UN committees have been very openly supporting the Palestinians, and for this they have been criticized by the Israelis, by the Americans, by others, but they ignored those criticisms and they continue to support the Palestinian people, and they continue to highlight the human rights violations. Now, of course, I'm not comparing the two situations. The situation in Pakistan is of obviously nowhere near what is happening in Gaza. It is a totally different situation. But when a committee like that declares that a person imprisoned in Pakistan is actually a political prisoner, then that person is seen as a political prisoner. And when the committee says that the grounds on which that person has been arrested are not justified, then that arrest is seen as unjustified. And we saw the impact of that. We may want to ignore such statements, but such statements do have an impact. We saw what happened at the U.S. Congress last week, where 368, that is an overwhelming number, voted in favor of a resolution that demanded investigations into the February elections, that also spoke of human rights violations, of arbitrary detentions in Pakistan. And so this kind of rulings naturally will have a further impact on similar proceedings in the US Congress or in the European Parliament or other places, and it will hurt Pakistan's standing as a country that does not respect human rights, that does arrest people on political grounds without any legal grounds. Yesterday at, I shouldn't say yesterday because I don't know when I'm going to show this, but earlier this week, this issue was raised at the US State Department, where the department's spokesperson could have easily said that this is an internal matter, that they do not want to comment on it, or they could have also said that the State Department does not comment on proceedings inside the Congress, which they did, but in a very interesting way. The spokesperson did say that the Congress is an independent and co-equal body, and that the State Department or the administration does not interfere in its affairs. But they also made a very interesting comment saying that they will not comment on an ongoing legislation, which indicates that what happened in the US House of Representatives last week is not the end. That this matter is still in the U.S. Congress, which has two houses, as you know, the House of Representatives and the Senate. And apparently, those who made it happen, I mean, the PTI supporters and Pakistani doctors, physicians who pushed for this resolution and who made it possible for this resolution to be adopted by overwhelming majority of 368 congressmen and women. The same people are still continuing to work on it, and apparently they have two more options. Actually, they can then take it to the Senate and get a similar endorsement from the Senate, and then they can push for legislation. And if they do, and if it becomes a law, then it may become something like the Pressler Amendment that we saw hurt Pakistan so much in the past. So if they make a law and that says that any U.S. support to Pakistan will now require a waiver from the administration, saying that it is in the U.S. interest to continue to support Pakistan, and that means that whenever the administration refuses to give a waiver or say that it's not in a position to give a waiver, then it will obviously derail U.S.-Pakistan relationship, because we already do not get a lot of assistance from the United States, but we do need U.S. support for getting packages from the IMF and the World Bank. And if such a waiver is made and it is denied, then it will hurt Pakistan greatly. So that was one thing. The other thing the State Department did was that it once again reminded Islamabad to follow its own constitution, to follow human rights chapter and other international agreements that Pakistan is a party to, and to make sure that human rights are observed, that people have the freedom of expression, people have the freedom of association. So this again indicates that this is an issue that will continue to haunt Pakistan as long as it is not resolved. Pakistan's reaction is, if you were the law minister or a spokesperson for the government of Pakistan, what would you say? The easiest thing in a situation like this is to say that it is an internal matter. That is what everybody says. India says the same. Israel says the same. Other countries do also take this stance that it is an internal matter, and you are nobody to actually make a statement on this. But we all know that even Pakistan goes to international forums and international bodies and asks for their comments and asks for their reaction. So this is a reaction that has come from a UN body, and it has a certain prestige. It will have a certain impact, and our reaction will be seen as routine, that, okay, of course it is an internal matter, but they will say it is an internal matter because they have arrested this person, they have kept him in prison, they are not willing to release it, so what else they can do? So, these kind of reactions do not really matter much outside Pakistan. In Pakistan, it may actually make the government look strong and make the people say that, look, the government is still very much in command, and it has even rejected a UN ruling. But outside Pakistan, it has very little. It will have very little impact.